Okay, welcome back to the Jiu Jitsu mindset. Once again, the divine has delivered on its promise to bring me extraordinary human beings to talk to every week. This week is special, just like last week. So I'm very, very lucky. And before we turn to our guests, I have just two quick things to tell you about. My Jiu Jitsu journey, the social media app that is just for Jiu Jitsu, is live on both the App Store and wherever you get your apps for Android. I'd ask you go give it a try. Send me any feedback. Is going to be a zero advertising platform, which means there's a monthly fee. So it's one or the other, right? And we're going to just create a clean space for us, and I hope to grow the community massively over time. And then I was hesitant to do this, um, but I did it. So I took my chances here to put the Submission Coffee brand with the Momentum Martial Arts competition team, and we're are a sponsor. That's right. And the reason why I was hesitant is that I never wanted to appear like I was creating an unfair advantage for anybody. So with that Submission Coffee in their corner, their victories are their own work. I can't have you guys coming back and saying, well, that coffee just gave them that unfair advantage. The Federation has still kept it unclassified as a performance enhancing drug. So I celebrate our support of the team and look forward to all the victories in the future. So today I'm talking with somebody who's from the team, from the community, and I'm so excited to do so. So Cassidy Roblero, thank you for spending time with me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Excited to be here and have some cool conversations.
As I was preparing to talk to you and doing what research, that I had, it was clear to me that, your martial arts training and knowledge span, different disciplines, and you're a martial artist with knowledge of a lot of different ways to fight. So I was curious when you think about the impact that that training and that energy and that focus has had on your life, if it wasn't there, like how would you be different? What would your life be different? How would you be different?
Yeah, so I started boxing when I was 14 and I started MMA, Jiu Jitsu, Muay Thai, all of that when I was 15. Um, when I started, I really needed it. I needed a good outlet. I needed a good community. Martial arts gave me that. And I feel like without it, I wouldn't have this way to let out all this pent up steam inside and find amazing people that inspire me every day. And so I'm really thankful to have found martial arts. It's really helped me navigate my own personal life. Um, I think my life would be pretty boring without it.
So in many conversations that I've had, the beginning of people that I've talked to here, their relationship to jiu-jitsu and to martial arts in general. Some people, it began because they stepped on the mats and then fell in love with the art, and then that's what they wanted to do. And then there are other, situations where something happened and they were seeking martial arts as a way to redo their relationship to the world. Perhaps, there's a moment of violence and they wanted to have tools that they didn't otherwise have. You're a pretty young person as you come to this. Was it one of those two things by any chance? Like, was it a moment of crisis, or was it just you fell in love with what this thing is?
Yeah, I would say at that time of my life, it was sort of a more moment of crisis where I was a lost teenager. I was getting in a lot of trouble. I was running away from home a lot, and I wasn't quite sure where I was headed, and I needed something, and finally I convinced my parents to get me into martial arts. I think their concern was that I was going to use those skills outside of the gym,
Hmm.
but it actually ended up being the complete opposite, where it sort of mellowed me out and um, it gave me this new sense of like calmness inside of my soul.
Yeah.
Um, I think the ability to just like be able to have some sort of violence in a constructive way was very helpful.
Hmm.
Instead of just not having this outlet, this healthy tool.
Yeah. You were, I mean, as a teenager, teenagers are not famous for being self-aware, right?
No.
So but it sounds like you knew on some level, like this was a direction that would help you.
Mhm.
When you begin your relationship to the community and boxing and karate were my first introductions to martial arts, and I was young. I was 10, 11, 12 when those things began my relationship to them. Um, and like you, boxing was my probably first where I had a little bit of structure and discipline to it. Were you aware at the time, like, hey, I feel different when I do these things, I feel different, or do you only look it back in retrospect, retrospect and know that then?
I realized it then. Obviously when we work out and we move our body, it feels really good after. And so I would say after a few months of continuous training, I really started to feel this internal change where it brought me this peace and joy, that I didn't really have before. And also being surrounded by positive people
Yeah.
that uplifted my spirits. Um, and then when I joined Momentum, that's where I really fell in love with the art, and it's really become like my craft.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the people that were around, I think, are the dominant part of the experience, for me at least, and I think for many others like me, that the what we're learning, the craft itself has its place, and then it has that craft is located within the community of people, is my opinion.
Mhm.
So, as you've gone on your journey, I guess what I'm wanted to ask is, did you have a particular teacher that, like, not just teaching you how to do something, but also give you a new perspective on, perhaps giving you a new perspective on the craft might have leaked over to giving you a new perspective on life too? I mean, was any moments like that in the journey so far?
Yeah, I would say Coach Darian really has been one of my biggest impacts on
Hmm.
me as a coach. I really he does a great job when he's coaching, not just coaching us jujitsu and MMA. He does a really great job of being a good influence and, tying in how martial arts applies to life. And I've been able to find these examples in all of my lessons. I mean, staying in the middle's one, right? Never swing too far in one direction. And you can find a lot of these principles throughout all of your martial arts teachings, and it's really awesome.
Yeah, connection base, right? I mean, these are principles that, get played out in life in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And I'm always curious. Sometimes I listen for that language in spiritual text. I grew up Catholic. I left the Catholic Church many many years ago, but I still think of my life as some dialogue between me and the divine.
Mm.
And being connected to people as like all the different ways you can be connected to people, I think matters. And then having your base, your foundation. Who are you? Where do you stand? You know, uh, in my opinion, the metaphors are maybe the clearest for me. I mean, Jiu Jitsu, I haven't had your experience in Muay Thai and MMA and the different things you've done, but those principles to me in Jiu Jitsu play out in my life so obviously that I can go train, at 6 in the morning, and then at 10 in the morning, I'm in a business meeting, and I think, oh, don't lose your base.
Yeah,
You're about to.
exactly. Yes.
Did it matter, like in your teenage world when you began boxing, although it's more accepted as available to women than it was when I was 12, certainly. Uh, did it? In your group of people, your friends and all the rest of it, was it celebrated as like, oh, that's so cool? Or was it looked at as more of an oddity? Like, well, why would you do that? I'm just curious what your experience was as a
Yeah.
young boxer.
Well, I'd say when I started, I feel like martial arts has come a long way for women. And so when I was in the sport and coming up in the sport, I it was celebrated and I had a
Okay.
lot of good support and everywhere I went, the gyms that I were at, I was pretty welcomed and treated as an equal and given the same amount of respect. When I was wrestling in high school, we actually had a full girls team, um, which was
That's
amazing.
super cool. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it was awesome. Like we were stacked. We had every girl for every weight
Oh,
division.
right on.
Yeah, so it was really cool to be a part of that. And I remember hearing stories of like when my high school got their first female
Hmm.
wrestler, and then a couple more came, and then now we have this big team, and I think that's, so awesome to see that.
Without a doubt. I mean, I have a blended family of where we have four daughters, and the youngest of which is on the last year of high school, and the oldest of which, by the way, is the new mom. And always, and now I have this granddaughter, right? So I'm always curious about, hey, the opportunities for girls, women to do whatever it is that they want in a manner that is appropriate. I object to sort of non-biological women competing against, biological women. It's not something that I'm okay with, and
Yeah, that's an unfair game.
that's the way I see it too, and sort of
Yeah.
undoing all these years of Title IX and all that. So I feel I have strong feelings in that direction. But uh, I remember my nephew wrestling against a girl in high school, and there wasn't enough girls to kind of have their own ecosystem of competition. But and this girl beat him, by the way. And
It's
I
awesome.
just, yeah, it was awesome, right? And I thought to myself, this wouldn't have happened in the early 80s when I was a high school student. So I find it interesting that that opened up.
Yeah.
It sounds to me there's maybe even more than I realize opportunities that girls are taking advantage of themselves or for themselves at a young age.
Yeah, I'd feel now more than ever, it's a great time for female athletes to thrive in martial arts. It's very, a lot of gyms now, well, at least with Momentum, we have a huge ladies community. Sometimes they take over the co-ed classes.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, Coach Darren was telling me a little bit about that, like that it's a very thriving, thriving, vibrant, connected group of people. When I think about uh, parenting and I think about having, 14, 15-year-old go into MMA, into boxing and those things, I think uh, like when I went down and boxed and my mom went down to watch me one day and she was like, "Why they're hitting you? What are you doing? Like you're why?" I'm like, "Mom, it's boxing." She's like, "Go shadow box, hit the bag. I don't actually want you in the ring." And of course, that's exactly where I wanted to be the most. But it was a mother's going, "Hey, my son," and she got over that as immediately as she needed to. Um, so when you think about competition, uh, how do you think about competition for people's journey as martial artists? Do you see it as, well, how do you see it? Let me just leave the question as that.
Mhm. Yeah, I see competition as a great way to test my skills
Hmm.
in the most safe and controlled environment possible. And I think it only helps me become less harder to kill that way because I'm in these situations of high level stress environments and somebody's really out to hurt me and they don't care about my well-being. And, so it really puts that pressure on and it really, as, uh, as a competitor, it really helps me understand myself more mentally. Like, what am I going to do in this self-defense situation? There's one competition I remember very vividly. It was my first jiu-jitsu competition, and it was maybe my fourth or fifth match that day. And I was tired. I was done. I hit complete muscle fatigue. After my first match, I wanted to puke. And so I was done. And I remember laying in bottom side control and wanting to quit, wanting
Hmm.
to just
Yeah,
give up. And then I thought to myself, okay, well, if this was a self-defense situation, am I just gonna lay here and give up?
right.
And that was the switch for me. And it was like, no, I'm gonna keep fighting. I'm gonna survive.
Right,
Even if I don't win this match, I'm gonna survive.
right.
And so that was game changer for me, and that really helped me see competition in a different light.
Hmm. So I mean, I think having been trapped inside control and and having, that was actually the identical thing that went through my head to say, well, you're going to lose this match. Like it's unlikely that you're going to fight your way that, but
Right.
if you had to, let's just like put this that you're not in a game.
Mhm.
What would you do then? And I did
Right.
the very best I could. When you think about the value that's come to you from competition, and you think about your students and other people in your community that perhaps are hesitant to cross that boundary into the competitive landscape, how do you think about it for them? Do you think it's for everybody? It's not for everybody. It doesn't matter. It does matter. How do you think about it?
Yeah. I think it's not for everybody for sure. However, I think it could really propel somebody's success and development in martial arts. I think it would really help them, understand like when I don't know if I can cuss on here or not, but when
You
shit hits
cuss,
the
yeah,
fan,
yeah, say it.
where's your mind going? Not just your skills, but
Yes,
your nervous system gets messed up, your breathing patterns change, your palms are sweaty,
yes,
your mind's racing, and you got to be able to control all of that. And so I think there's great benefits to competing, and especially for females, I think it's a really great opportunity for them to just step in the ocean a little bit, and
yeah,
get their feet wet, and then maybe start going under some waves, and then you can start getting a surfboard, then you're riding the waves,
nice.
Um, so I think it's very helpful. But I don't think it's for everybody.
Yeah, I don't, I mean, if somebody said I do not want to compete, I wouldn't, I wouldn't press the, the issue so much to say that if you don't compete, there's something so fundamentally missing that you might as, now go ahead,
Yeah, sorry, my
yeah,
6-year-old knocked over a chair and he was gonna
yeah,
fall down
that,
her.
yeah, go, yeah,
He's okay now
is he all right? Okay, yeah, yeah, let's
though.
make sure we don't let this podcast interrupt taking care of, your son there. Well, when you described your jujitsu match, I mean, it sounds like a very memorable one. Does that sit at the top of like if I asked your lizard brain to, name, oh man, this was the most memorable fight? If not that one, do you have another one too that you could tell me a bit about? Because I'm curious. I know you've had a
Yeah.
lot of success.
I would say my first MMA fight, that was huge. That was very different. I felt like when I was walking out there, I felt like I was watching myself from third
That's
person. It
that's
was
interesting.
strange.
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt like I was in a dream the entire time. And I remember jumping on this leg lock and thinking I was safe, but I was indeed not safe, and I was getting hit and taking some really good damage there. And it really put it into perspective for me. Like, um, my jujitsu may be good in some areas, but I could be getting hit here
Yeah,
still. My
yeah.
stripes are involved. And so that sort of changed my game of jujitsu a lot because now when I train, I always think about that. Whenever I'm training, I think about, can I get hit here?
Yes.
And if so, how can I improve this position to where I'm not getting hit and I'm keeping myself safe? Okay, you gotta stop. Wait, can I have Tina? Yes.
D-
Yes.
does he want to say hello? Would that
Want to
help
say
him?
hi? Yes. Okay.
Come tell me who your training partner here is.
He
Let's
competes
see.
too.
Oh my goodness, hello. It's very nice to
Hi.
meet you, young man.
Hi.
Hi, what's your name?
Cairo.
Cairo. Do you have any interest in jiu-jitsu or learning to fight MMA? Does that interest you at all?
I could do arm bars.
You can do arm bars, I've no doubt. I've no doubt you could do a great arm bar. Well, thank you for joining the show. Perhaps we will do an episode with you in the future. Who knows what you may have to come back and teach
Yeah.
us.
Yeah, right? 10 years from now. That'd be crazy.
Yeah, who knows? Oh,
I'll be 16.
Yeah, yeah.
all right. I'm
Let's
gonna
say
set it up with
adios.
your mom. 16, when
Adios.
you're 16. Adios. 16, we're
Yeah.
doing an interview, okay? I'm gonna work hard on getting my questions ready.
Okay.
Okay, young sir. I will see you sometime in the future.
Okay.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Yes, you can go on the projector.
Okay, excellent. So we have an amazing podcast set up 10 years out.
Yeah.
I'm excited for it. Um, so in this extraordinary experience, and you have sort of a third person point of view, are you looking at yourself thinking, well, what are you thinking? Are you thinking, oh my gosh, I'm getting smashed here, like this is terrible, or are you thinking, oh, isn't that interesting? Or are you
It
afraid? Are
was,
you not afraid? I mean, what's going on in your head?
man, it was an array of emotions. The excitement, the thrill of it all, the nerves, the fear, the unknown.
Hmm.
Um, and wow, like I'm really signing up to, I just signed this waiver to hop in this cage and fight
Yeah.
somebody. Um, yeah, it was very different from all of my competitions from my Muay Thai and Jiu Jitsu comps. It was very different. The crowd, the lights, but I really did come out of it stronger, not just looking at it from my skills, but really like just who I come out of it as a person
Hmm.
and the things I learned mentally about myself. And I feel like every competition, every fight, I have gained, something from it. Um, and so it's been really awesome going through this journey. And I'm really, really thankful for it because it's really propelled me forward.
Well, I mean, clearly, I mean, are going great from all that I understand. And if you were going to describe that, you know, maybe the most important of the things you learned about yourself in that, what language would you use to say, well, this is what that means. Like this is what I learned.
Uh, that's a hard one. It's not so much one thing in particular. It's very different
Hmm.
uh, fight by fight. I would say the biggest thing is just really having belief in myself.
Hmm.
And because when I started, there was always this critic, and there's always that critic, but it's who becomes louder.
Yeah, yes, very good.
And yeah, and I feel like my self-belief and my confidence in myself and my training and my skills, it's it's really improved a lot. And now I feel like the positive voice
Very,
overpowers this one over
yeah,
here.
yeah.
And so I would say that's the biggest one.
For me, like a lot of when I listen to you talk about that translates to me into the term resilience, and
Hmm.
I'm not asking you to agree with that, but that's my, like when I hear you say that, because the critical voice I think degrades your ability to do the next thing, like, well,
Yeah.
you're right, critical voice. Like I shouldn't have tried that. I shouldn't have whatever, right? Whereas the positive voice goes, "Hey, it's okay. It didn't go perfect. It didn't have to go perfect, and we're going to take from that, and we're going to the next thing." And that dynamic between the imperfection of life in all its
Mm.
moments and the ability to be attracted to the next experience is a differentiator between people, and that's why I think
Yeah.
I love jujitsu, particularly in the different athletic things I've done in my life because of the requirement of humility, the requirement of accepting failure as a primary part of the process. Because the folks that can go, oh, all right, like for me, and I'm a beginner, right? I'm coming up on about 6 years, and you would, I'm at the,
That's awesome though.
yeah, I'm not, oh, the journey has been fantastic. I just sometimes
And
think with 6 years, I should know something, but
yeah.
but I don't, every time I'm on the mess, I'm glad to be there, and it's okay by me to be the least skilled person on the mat or whatever. It doesn't trouble me. But how that plays out outside the match for me is I'm very happy to
Mhm.
continue to try things that may or may not work. And I feel like our community is particularly good at that. Like, hey,
Yes.
come try it. It doesn't have to go perfect, and we'll just come back. We'll tap, start again, and I don't know. I love that about who we are.
Yeah, no, I love that you just said that because it does, you have to accept failure and be okay with that and be able to learn from it and let it, inspire you to keep going. Okay, it didn't work out. All right, let's figure out how we can make it work, you
Yes.
know, and in a positive way too, in a way where it's like you're not degrading who you are as a person because of
Hmm.
this outcome.
Right.
You're accepting it as a positive thing, as okay, this is how I adapt.
Yes. And if you can't do that, I think it's an issue of honesty, right? Because if you
Mhm.
go and you were like, well, that person beat me because of luck, or that person, or this thing
Yeah.
happened for external reasons rather than for internal reasons, then I think this is not a good, this won't be a good experience for a person. If you have to be able,
Yeah.
in my opinion, to turn the lens inward and say, okay, here's what I can do. And if I did this in the same circumstance next week, it will have a different outcome, potentially at least.
Yes.
There.
Yeah. Yeah. That's another one that can translate to life, right? Like you got to look
Absolutely.
inward. It's really easy to deflect and put the blame elsewhere. But when you can internally, look at that and go, no, I made the mistake here. This is how I can fix it.
Right.
That when you're honest, you have to be honest. Yeah.
Yes, and that I didn't realize how long I've been doing this podcast, to be honest with you, up until um, just recently. People were asking me like, when did you start? So I started, back in 2022, and um, one of the themes that has come up consistently is this theme of honesty, and I think it's a core principle to my attraction and love for doing this podcast, but jujitsu in general is that minus honesty, you're gonna get hurt. Like you can't, hey, the physician is lost. You better be honest about it, or your arm is going to
Yeah.
break, right? I mean,
Right.
we see it happen too often where somebody's saying, no, I'm going to fight out of this. I haven't lost this position. And then there's an injury, in training. So I've been interested to just listen to that theme as we go along. When you look at the community that you're involved in, and my guess is you've seen many people affected over the years by the types of training that you guys are bringing the community through. Do you have a story that is your favorite of somebody who came in, had some sort of transformation that might have been attached to you guiding them along the way that you could share?
Yeah, I would say mine wouldn't be one person in particular, more so how I've seen it help young children, especially.
Yeah, tell me about
Um,
that.
yeah, I've had parents come in and, tell me that their kids are being bullied at school and,
Hmm.
they're very much kept to themselves. They're in the shell
Right.
and they not only not know how to protect themselves, but they don't know how to speak up for themselves.
Yeah.
So the coolest thing for me is seeing those kids come out of their shell, seeing them
Mm.
be able to have a voice for themselves and watching their confidence grow. I mean that's my favorite part.
Wh- Um, as a father of daughters, right? And
Mhm.
I have a question for you when you look to the kids program, because when I come into the kids and watch them, the youngest kids we have, right? These little teeny tiny guys and girls. When I look at them, I see the boys and girls differentially because I think about myself at six. Like if you see me at six, I've been on the soccer field for a few years. My uncles have been roughhousing with me as soon as I could, move. They're like wrestling and teaching me to box and do gymnastics and all this stuff, right? And I've been in field scrapes. Somebody's out on the soccer field, pushes you, and now you're in a 5-year-old little scrum of silliness, right? Or whatever.
Yes.
But at six, I have a fair like physical vocabulary of other people being in my space. But if I look at my daughters when they were six, nobody was grabbing them, besides
Right.
me, maybe they didn't.
Yeah.
If I had put them in jujitsu, I always think, I wonder if they would have been like, Dad, what are you doing? Like, this is, because they wouldn't have been, unless I had exposed them to, that type of martial art, they wouldn't have found it on their own. So when you look at the girls, do you think they're having a different experience than the boys, or is it just so different now that everybody shows up on the same playing field,
Well,
so to speak, the mats, or which
yeah.
pick your metaphor.
Yeah. Well, boys and girls, they're, I mean, I'm sure like just raising them as a parent, you raise them differently because they're so different, boys and
Right.
girls. So there is different like psychology that goes involved with, coaching them.
Hmm.
Um, but for the most part, man, those girls are tough.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Those girls are tough, and they sometimes they outclass the guys, the boys on the mat.
Without a doubt. And please, like what I'm saying is, I'm just curious what I'm seeing, because the girls are awesome. I mean, they're, from a physicality perspective, particularly among the youngest, there's no real differential. It's not like a 30-year-old man and a 30-year-old woman. I mean, at that point, it's, the differences are extremely minor. So I'm seeing them do fantastically well.
Yeah.
But I just wondered if through your eyes you're like, oh, because I always am so grateful, I guess, right? Like, I'm so grateful that they're having this experience, regardless of whether they do it for 20 years or not, because I think it will matter to them as they go along in their life to have been in those types of confrontations and to realize, yeah, I can be in this type of confrontation and it be okay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I would say sometimes the girls, pick it up a little bit faster.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think that they're just developmentally, I feel like that their brains just process it a little bit faster at that age.
Yeah.
Maybe as an adult too, I sort of see it that way too. I feel like there's less pride with
Yes.
the females, and
Yeah.
so there's a little bit less ego, so the learning curve is a little faster. Um, but yeah, no, it's really cool. It's really cool to just see them blossom and see them come in from whether they were timid at first, maybe even crying because they're so scared to try class, to running onto the mats and having this excitement
Yeah.
and, this eagerness to want to learn martial arts, and not just to learn it, but because they're having fun, and
Right.
that's the best way for kids to learn is through having fun and through play. And also us, honestly,
I
adults learn better when they're having fun and they're playing, and versus it being a chore.
Right, right. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think in terms of developing anything, nothing beats like consistency over a long period of time to be learning anything. And
Yes.
I think it is not a good recipe to be consistent over a long period of time if when you think, oh, do I want to go do this thing? You're thinking, oh, this, no, I don't have very much fun. I just have to do that. Versus, oh, I'm always have fun when I go in there. I always feel better at the end of it there.
Yes.
You're having a lot of impact in your community across like a lot of different types of people, types of ages, so if you got any superhero name for me, if I was going to say, hey Cassidy, what's your jiu-jitsu or martial arts superhero name?
Oh man. Well, my fight name is La Cazadora,
Um,
which means the huntress. So I'll stick with that one, La
I,
Cazadora. It really resonated with me when I was, deciding what my fight name was going to be. I I just like that I can go in there and be calm and relentless and precise
yes,
and, patient for my openings while I'm hunting. It's not this rushed hunt.
yeah.
No, you got to be patient. You got to lay low. You got to wait it out a little bit.
Hmm. I love that. Um, People are going to want to go find how to follow you and follow your journey as certainly as a fighter and a teacher, and where are the best places to follow your progress and journey in these things?
Yeah, so my personal account is Cast on the Mats. I share all my fights and my training and everything on there. Also on the Momentum Reno page,
Hmm.
see our whole community there. Yeah, Cast on the Mats.
Cast on the mats. Excellent. Is there a fight scheduled for your MMA life coming up? What do you got on the books?
Right now, I'm going through a healing journey with my neck and my shoulders. So,
Okay.
uh, looking at sometime in, September, October timeframe to get a fight.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, maybe you'll come back and talk to us about it. I'd love to hear, you know, how it felt up to the fight, how it felt fight day, and after, what you learned and how it felt. I would love for you to come back if you'd be willing.
Yeah, absolutely. I love to share what my lessons were from that fight.
I can't wait to hear it. Well, Huntress, I'm excited to have spent the time with you, and I look forward to future conversations. And of course, 10 years out when we talk to your son, it's going to be amazing. So
Yeah.
I'm excited for that one too. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.